Today I'm here with a good friend of mine. His name's Miles, one of the local boys from Maroubra. Thought we'd come down, have a coffee and have a bit of a chin wag.
Yeah.
While I'm still here. Tell us about yourself.
Mate, just got back from 3 weeks at the States.
Yeah.
Had a good trip. Come back to the bra, you know what I mean, and back at work and stuff, and then just ready for looking forward to Christmas and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Tell us who you are and where we are.
Mate, my name's Miles Chappell, and I'm a local at Maroubra Beach from here, and you're right in the middle of the heart of Maroubra, right in the middle where the promenade is. You can see straight out here all the people in and all the surfers and all the bra boys are down here.
The way we've got it set up now, as you can see in that screen in front of you, you'll be able to see that they can see everything that's going on. There's a little surf lifesaving hut straight down there.
Well, in the background, you can see there'd be a fair few bra boys out there now, you know what I mean? And
yes,
they're outdoors, they take control and no one drops in on them and stuff in the surf, and you know what I mean? You can't just go out there and start paddling out there. You've got to make sure you do the right.
Who's the chaps?
Oh, mate,
who's Miles when he's at home?
Mate, Miles he's a guy that's he's living the dream.
Yeah.
You know, he's working the wharves, you know what I mean? Enjoying his time at the wharves.
Yeah.
Getting good money out there. Takes me 10 minutes. I live at Randwick.
Yeah.
And it only takes me 5 minutes to get to this beach here where we are here. 5 minutes here, 5 minutes to work.
Yeah.
And 10 minutes to get to the city. So it's a good location where I am. And
so you grew up around here?
I grew up around here, yeah, since I was a kid. Dad brought me down here. The first wave I ever had was down here.
How old do you reckon you were when you started?
Geez, young. It would have been, mate. You just to get in the water with my old man. He used to put me in about 3 or 4 year old. He used to put me straight on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Take me down, get in the water, and yeah. And get amongst it. So I was
He's from this area too, is he originally?
Yeah, originally he's from Bondi.
Oh yeah.
Bondi.
Like my old man, yeah, from Bondi.
And then when I was 2 year old, he ended up buying a house at South Coogee, which is only a few minutes from here, towards where the camera's facing now.
Yeah.
And so we've always been locals, and Dad's always been he's always been a body surfer and a bodyboarder. So he was a New South Wales champion, my father.
Oh, was he?
As a body surfing champion, yeah.
Was he? Yeah, back in the day. What year?
Back in the day, in the 70s.
70s, yeah.
70s was big. You know, that was a big thing. All the surf clubs around Sydney, where we are now, had handball courts. And my dad was he'd go around for tournaments all right, Sydney. There was a bit of money in it too back then, you know.
Was he? Yeah.
But he got crowned a few times New South Wales, because the rest of Australia didn't really do it. It was only New South Wales.
Yeah.
So and that's where he used to go body surf. As soon as he finished, they jump in the water, have a surf when they're all sweated up, and get in there and get amongst it.
Yep. And you yourself, you started following in his footsteps a little bit, but times changed by the time we were sort of...
Times changed. We didn't really get in that type of handball. Handball's almost like the outball, like squash, similar to squash, right? Where me and Maddie at school played down ball across there where all the kids play, and it's a different game.
Yeah.
So that's what we grew up in on, you know what I mean? But Dad used to play. It was hard. It was a hard game he used to play. He's got broken fingers, everything from playing the game. And because he used to, it's like when you come back with your hand, you smash it as hard as you can, barehanded too.
Yeah.
And it's an old tennis ball, and you rub it right down to the ground, and it takes off all the fluff on the stuff, and it makes it a rubber ball, and then it bounces. That's how it runs.
Super springy.
So that's with Daddy.
Well, there's a bit of that when we. Just trying to think, like when we first got, because me and Miles went to school together. That's how I know him. But Marcelin used to have our school used to have an upboard court, remember? Used to have a handball.
It did too. It did.
Initially, you know, and then they got
it did. That was the proper handball court too.
Yeah,
the one.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a big game for Dad down there, you know, and my father played rugby league. He got up until reserve grade. Played for Canterbury Bankstown.
Oh, did he?
In reserve grade. That's a the competition here. Very tough.
And he just had a birthday, your father? Yeah.
Father just reached 91 yesterday, October.
God bless him.
So yeah, God bless. He's still carrying on. Still got his stories to tell.
Is he still swimming? Give it up?
It's in the next few months when it gets a bit warmer.
Yeah, he'll get up.
Well, I'll take him down to a couple of swimming pools, Malabar and stuff,
Oh,
and he'll get him in the water. And he can't do much, 91, but he gets in the water. You know what I mean? So he loves the water. He grew up just like me.
Getting back to your sort of journey, so you grew up around here and obviously down the beach all the time. Some of the changes you've seen, and you ended up getting into the surf yourself and doing some competitions.
I used to be a mad bodyboarder and a skateboarder.
Yeah,
I used to love the skateboarding. So when I come to year 9 at Marcellin with you, when you first met me, year 9, that was 1989, guys. So it's a long time ago.
Yep.
When we first did school, I was a mad skateboard rider. So all the boys back then, they said, but I used to bodyboard as well. So
where did you ride the skater at?
On Bondi, over at Bondi Beach, a lot in the street.
Had the cement.
That's all the only sort of one had, and Manly and Half Pipe had one too.
Oh, Manly, okay, yeah.
Manly Half Pipe had one too.
Oh, I got some.
Thank you very much, Johan.
The Barbie.
Thanks very much.
Is that right?
Yep.
Barbecue?
Yep.
I think so. All right, we got some.
You can put on pause.
Got some breakfast burgers. Oh no, we can keep. Yeah, if you want to, we can do that. Well, we'll come back to the skateboarding. Interesting because there's another skateboarder I'm going to start to interview soon when I get back to LA. He's actually just been inducted into the Skateboarders Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So
how can you beat that?
We'll talk about him soon. But anyway, we'll pause that one with you. All right, so tell us more. Tell us some more, young chaps.
So once I was into the skateboarding, like I used to be mad, the street skateboarding. I used to follow the Paparazzi, which is American top skaters, Tony Hawk.
Did you ever watch that show called Dogtown?
Oh, yeah, great.
Yeah. So one of the guy I'm going to interview, he's actually one of the guys that base the character off.
Wow.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So I used to watch, I used to love skateboarding. We used to get the videos and watch that and practice how to do it.
What else do we call them? That
lead
type of
riders, lids, esky lids.
Okay, yeah. Explain.
McDonald's trays, because you can ride McDonald's trays and stuff. You know what I mean?
What's the official term? Is it a boogie board?
It's bodyboard? It's two. It's bodyboard and boogie board. Okay. Boogie board's going back in the 70s, and bodyboards are more an up scale.
Yeah,
name.
yep.
Okay, so yeah.
Tell us about an esky. What is an esky, man? Because there's a lot of people probably going to watch this from other parts of the world.
Well, it's made of foam. So when you put the old esky lids on, they're all made of foam. Yeah. So blokes used to ride an esky lid because it used to float. It float in the water.
What's an esky?
I used to go I use an esky lid.
The actual top of that actual.
Show us your lid, you know, an esky lid.
I used to ride them.
Get off your knee, you know. Get off your
professionally, is that right? When you were younger?
Yeah. Well, because I used to ride every day. Like we used to surf. It didn't matter 1, 2 foot, 6, 10, 15 foot. I've surfed everything, man. I was never scared. Where that camera's facing that north end, there used to be a massive shore break used to hit, and it used to come up, and I used to go when I was a grommet, used to go in there and just pull straight into the barrel and get smashed, hit the ground. Yeah. But I go out again because I just loved it. And when I first started surfing down here, people didn't know who I was. They used to go, who is this crazy idiot that goes out there and just got no brave, but he's just got balls of steel. Yeah. That was what they used to call me. It's just, and my nickname in the end was called Metal.
What was it?
METAL was metal.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because I used to love my Metallica and heavy metal. I'm a full heavy metal fan, always back in the day.
Full headbanger.
Headbanger. Oh, this. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, and you were sponsored at one stage, weren't you?
Yes.
Who was that? Who was sponsoring?
So my first sponsor at the beach was Turbo, which Mike Stewart, who is the goat of bodyboarding from Hawaii. He used to ride them, and one of the local companies here seen me ride in competitions, and they asked me for a sponsorship. So I was sponsored by Turbo, and then a few years later, I went to Moray Boogie, was another step up again.
Yeah.
And then Mike Stewart ended up going with that company later on as well. So I was sponsored for years. I was sponsored.
And you used to go and do competitions?
Yeah.
Where
Up and down from anywhere from Queensland down to Melbourne, down Victoria. It was always the East. It was always the East Coast because East Coast always got great waves and it's close. So there was one year in 1994. It was a year that I ended up getting fourth in one of the national bodyboarding competitions, and a couple of top riders, top riders in Australia, Matt Riley, Steve McKenzie. These blokes were the king of the kings.
Yeah.
And
how did you get approached to get a sponsorship? How does that work? You're doing the comps and someone comes up to you, or?
I just think the name, but I think my name got out there after a while. You know, other riders used to say, "Oh, mate," they used to ask, "Who's some of the riders today we should sponsor?"
Yeah.
And they pointed out my name. They come and watch me and made and see that I had the competitions. I used to get 4 years in a row. I won Maroubra bodyboard. It's called the MBB bodyboarders. I won 4 years in a row of the title, and that was in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I was sponsored for years and years.
What about surf club involved?
Look, I didn't really get in the club. We call them clubbies, the surf clubbies. Clubbies, blokes, wear the cozies, the speedos up your ass and that, things like that. So we did like wearing them. So I used to like have the boardies on.
Yeah.
And my old man used to be in the Bondi Icebergs, which wasn't really a surf club. So he didn't really get me into I didn't really get into the surf clubs. We sort of formed our own little bodyboarding gang down here in the middle, right where we are now in this pavilion here.
Yeah.
And every weekend, this used to be our place to come and go instead of the surf clubs.
Yeah. And this place was a full sort of
so packed.
surf like different sort of cultures within a culture, wasn't it? Really?
Yes, that's right. We had a lot of different things.
Longboarders. I know there was South Maroubra longboard riders. There was.
So what you used to have, Christian surfers, right? Christian surfers had its own thing. So they were a religious one, but anyone can join them. Didn't matter. Yeah. Then you had South Maroubra Surf Club, but they were a board riders club as well.
Oh yeah.
Then you had the Maroubra bodyboarders, which I was in the middle.
Yeah.
Then you had the North End board riders, surfboard riders, and then there was Maroubra board riders. So there was like 6 different groups.
Yeah.
But one thing about it, most of us all got to. Because we all grew up at the beach. Everyone, there was respect there, and that was a big part of it.
Yeah.
That was a big part of it to have that respect for everyone. So if you had it in trouble with some in the surf, and then some blow in from where it is overseas, or someone from down the coast or over there started hassling you in the surf, as soon as anyone hears it, it's either you take it on yourself, you start, tell the bloke, mate, get out of the water, we're going to fight on the beach.
Yep.
We end up getting blueser. Otherwise, one of your mates would come over, you know what I mean? And he'd sort him out, you know what I mean? And, mate, so we wouldn't no one take any crap from anywhere out of the beach. It's very staunch here.
And how is it today? Do you know much of the boys?
Look, it's probably not as what it was. It was I'd say when it really got the notorious bra boys who my brother's one, he's got a tattoo and stuff. We will get talking to that.
Did you sign up or not?
No, they asked me, and I just didn't want to do that. But anyway, that's where that come from. About all this, about the groups of the surfers down the beach and where they come, that thing.
How did those, probably the most infamous group would be the Bra Boys that were down here. How did they interrelate with all these other groups we just spoke about?
Well, people looked up and they were scared. There were certain people who were still scared of them as well. But because were
they the dominant sort of size group?
Yeah. Well, everyone, you had to be like most of the original Bra Boys were the top surfers of the beach. The Aberden brothers, Sonny Aberden, Joy Aberden, and Kobe Aberden. So they're the 3 main boys at the beach.
Yeah. So you're so they were back in the 90s, early.
Yeah. There was a lot of fighting coming from other beaches, and we used to get a lot of Lebanese and that come down the beach and try to cause fights and stuff, and try to hated surfy people and stuff.
It was big sort of.
So there was a bit of, they come at night time and they trash some of the people's houses and cars and stuff. And
what about these days?
No, these days it's very tame compared to what it was. The cops are more involved, and I think there's a lot more respect for what we have.
What about the cops back then? How are they? The local cops?
Oh, the cops was, mate, they didn't like the Bra boys at all. All the people down here at Hills, so they used to hassle you non-stop at the beach. Come down, drive their cars along here, be intimidated for all the surfers and stuff.
Yeah, keeping you in line. Yeah,
keeping you in line. You know what I mean? Keeping you in line. But we, when we're talking about we're in these clubs, well, we loved our alcohol and stuff. We weren't really into drugs. Like drugs was never my thing. I'm not really never been into drugs. It's not mine. And most of my friends weren't really into it either.
Yeah.
It was just me. It's more about surfing, hanging out with your mates, riding off, getting girls, hanging out,
Just, it seemed like pretty sort of bronzed Aussie sort of clean living life, apart from, obviously the poverty aspect. It was sort of down here at the time back then,
True. It was very poor. Very poor, and there was a lot of house commissions everywhere.
Still here now, but
not as much. But so this area, back in the day, people didn't want to live down Maroubra. It was pretty run down. Nothing was built down here. A lot of people from other beaches wouldn't come down to Maroubra because they were sort of intimidated from all the surfers down here.
Yeah.
Compared to today, it's a rich area now. All the houses are taken over. A lot of the poor people are gone. And not as many Bra boys down here too, and locals, because it's too expensive for them now. So they've moved to Queensland.
Have they?
Yeah, a lot of them moved to Queensland now. Or Central Coast or things like that, where it's cheaper housing.
That makes sense too. And I've got family members that have gone up. So do you. You've gone up the Central Coast. That seems to be another bit of an escape to get away from all of this sort of overpricing and market pressures that are going on today.
Yeah, no, we're doing it. It's me and you. We're doing it tough now today, even. So,
but otherwise, no, it's all good. And so anyway, keep going with if you can tell us a bit more about growing up. So you're sponsored, you're doing comps, and
partying a lot. So when it comes to, even though we're bodybuilding, I can handle getting up in the morning, hungover, going out in the town, and a coogee, you know what I mean? Just a normal, with the boys. Recovery in the surf.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. And then for breakfast, this is my breakfast in the morning. We go down to the bakery, we get a meat pie, a can of Coke, and that was my breakfast most mornings.
Perfect.
And that was our, and we got strong bones from doing the old meat pies and stuff, and the Coca-Cola. Couldn't beat that.
It's good for you, apparently. Yeah. No, it's it's still a good spot down here, as you can see, like in the background.
It's a beautiful spot.
Yeah.
It's hard. That's why I haven't moved away from the area. It's more expensive to live here. My parents still live here. They're still alive.
The worst part about this place is the weekends. Is that you lose access to your own suburb because you just have all these blow-ins
especially summer when it's 30, 35 degrees. If you come after 9 o'clock, you're not getting a parking spot. Forget it. You got every western suburbs, all the Westies coming down here trying to take over, carrying on, playing their music.
You got people saying, oh, yeah, the beach should be accessed for everyone. But hang on, my argument is the people that are actually living here and paying a premium to be here, paying the council rates, paying the higher premiums on fuel and groceries, etc., to be here, they lose the prime time for that amenity on a Saturday, Sunday to all these blow-ins. There should be my solution, I don't know how you feel about this, it should be a $50 parking for every car that comes in here on a weekend. And the locals that live here, they should have a free council rates. That should all be going straight into the council coffers.
Of course it should be.
Shouldn't be paying for it.
The locals don't get looked after enough these days.
Yeah.
We live here all our lives.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then someone can come from overseas and they can come up and buy and then get straight on the dole.
Yeah.
So the dole means that you can be on the income and not have to work. You can come over here, you can have 10 kids and get on the dole. The rock and roll, we just call it the rock and roll, the dole, the bludgers, the dole bludgers. People don't want to work.
Yeah.
And still, you know.
But again, even if, because there would be people that are on welfare over this part of the world too, but they've still got to pay those premiums they've got to live within their means over here and be sort of,
Mate,
let's say asset rich, look at the cash poor to be here. And
look at the food price, the council rates.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? What about the parking police going around? You're getting booked all the time, you know, for parking your car. Can't get a parking spot.
That's another one.
Mate, you know, it doesn't stop.
Anyway, we're moving on, but it's still a good spot. It's changed a fair bit. I've seen there's a lot of different sort of groups have moved in. A few South American groups have sort of Portuguese and Brazilians, South Americans,
Italians,
Colombians, and
then you always got your pommies and your Irish.
What's a pommy? Explain a pommy to the rest of the world.
So a pommy is an English guy or girl. That's their nickname from an English person.
And I've got to Google this because I've got a feeling that it comes from the World War One pommes frites.
Yeah,
that pommes frites is that little.
I don't know with the background. You know, I haven't looked it up. The background.
I think
we call them pommies.
We used to call the pommies the English side of the Anglo-Saxon, and the frites were the German side. So we just call them pommes.
That's right.
Pommy and frites.
Well, just off the same, just a bit. The cricket side is called the Poms.
Yeah.
So that's where it gets from. So the Poms, the England cricket side versus Australia, we go Australia versus the Poms.
Yeah.
So it's tradition.
Yeah. So we don't, I think a lot of people think it's derogatory, but it's not. It's more of a nickname than derogatory.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Here he is.
Here he is.
Thanks, buddy. Good man.
How was your burger? It's pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're big, but they're massive, so you can't complain with them, can you? No way.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, so good stuff, mate. We're moving on anyway from, I suppose, talking about what else growing up you want to sell off the bit.
Well, look, just while we're on the subject of
What happened in 2005? There was a huge thing down here.
the Cronulla riots.
Yeah, how were you involved with that?
Well, look, I was there. Funny thing, on the day, it was a Sunday, and there was a massive protest down at Cronulla Beach.
How did you know about it? As a local, what was the G up? Wasn't there?
I think at the time we heard from a few locals that from guys from Cronulla ringing up people, bra boys and stuff. Come down to Cronulla, we need some backup. There's a lot of lebs coming down this and there, and overseas.
Do you know what the incident was that had sort of set it off?
Well, look, it got set off from. I think from beaches getting taken over from outside locals, right? That weren't locals.
What was the last straw? Do you think that?
And
you remember that? Look, from memory, from the intel I had at the time, anyway, was that there was some surf lifesavers were bashed down at Cronulla.
That's what I heard. So whether it happened, I don't know if it got to happen on the day, but it happened
prior. I think the week
prior. I think it happened prior. So what they're on the Sunday was a leading to a public holiday.
Yeah.
And they had a little bit of a protest down at Cronulla as well. And what got the gist of it is at the train station there was a few like innocent. I am going to say innocent because there was a couple of innocent Lebanese guys that come down there.
Yeah.
They weren't looking for any fights. They had nothing to do with anything else.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, but all of a sudden, because anyone that looked like they were someone in the Lebanese looking like the outside. You were a stranger, and they wanted, and all of a sudden, the Cronulla people went towards them, and they end up chasing and bashing some of the kids, and then the police got involved, and they barricaded, and then once that got out to the rest of the outside world around within 50, 100k, that night is when they hit the eastern suburbs beaches past Cronulla.
They tried to get to Cronulla, but they couldn't get through because the police had already blocked off and contained that peninsula. So
they tried, didn't they?
So they ended up coming here because
they head down Brighton Sands and they started smashing all the cars in there.
Yep.
And then they come down towards Maroubra Beach because they knew Maroubra Beach was a surfing town, big surfing town, and any car on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Got the window smashed straight in. I lived on South Coogee all my life, 35 years, between Coogee and Maroubra, and I was lucky my parents' cars didn't get smashed because one side of the road they smashed and the other one they went down and smashed them all.
They're on this side, I know. I was working that night too, so
Each side they got smashed because the other side my cars didn't get smashed. So anyway, that was the gist of that, and there was a lot of arrests after that for a lot of Cronulla guys got arrested.
Yeah. What about you guys? You being sort of close to the being in the surfing culture and close to the bar.
There was a few fights at the front of Maroubra pub. So Maroubra pub has been there forever. It's a local pub where everyone drinks and it's a localised.
You get the call up. You get like an SMS or what happened? How was it going through the social media things to say?
Oh, keep an eye out, mate. You know what I mean? Maroubra, look out. They're coming out with baseball bats from Cronulla from the riots. And so all the Bra boys they stayed in the pubs ready to go.
Yeah.
And I think there was a bit of a blue, but I think it got stopped pretty early that night.
What about you and your brother? Where were you guys on that?
At the time, in the afternoon, I was down, but then I went home in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Mum and Dad said, no, we want you home. We don't want you getting caught up because it makes someone can get killed or stabbed. You don't know.
Which they obviously...
There was a few stabbings that happened.
Yeah.
So... there was a lot of outlay. There was a lot of outcry of what happened with the Cronulla. Like I was actually a bit disgusted for what they did with some innocent people down there. Did nothing. They had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And they got crucified just because they were looking like they were from overseas.
It's hard to describe to people today because it's so sort of calm. You know, it's like a uneasy calm, I guess, we've had for many years now because. As well, I was on the inside, obviously, seeing the changes that had to happen internally. Unfortunately, I can see there's a bit of decay with the way that the police are sort of being allowed to respond to some sort of civil unrest. It seems to be brewing again. I can see it with this stuff that's going on in the Middle East, etc.
Yes.
If you don't curtail that and put a stamp to it, I think John Howard was probably the best Prime Minister I had in my lifetime. I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, he was very good.
In that he said, look, I don't believe in multiculturalism. And then you'd look, the journalists would go, hey, what are you talking about? That's like a taboo thing to think. He said, no, it's one culture here, many races.
That's right.
Which is basically, you know, it doesn't matter whether you're from Maroubra or some other area, we're all Aussies. And we sort of went away from that.
Yes.
You know, we sort of went back to that under his sort of years. And he did a lot of good things that sort of defied the political party that he was with, like getting rid of the guns, the automatic weapons out of the society, etc.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, I can see there's a bit of a cultural shift away from us now, and things that wouldn't have been accepted and tolerated are being tolerated by the media, and the politicians are fanning the flames of this division again. I don't understand why, unless they're getting a kickback for it, unless they're so desperate for votes that they'll sell their own sort of national identity out for it. But,
yes.
But who knows? But anyway, it was definitely it was just interesting for me to hear from your perspective because I was on the other end. I went to work and
you were working, so you were a protector.
We're pretty much ready for martial law to be enacted. Had that sense about it without a sort of word of a lie, and everyone was just from the moment we sort of jumped in the truck, the radio was going off that Cronulla everyone was calling urgent, needed help over the radio, and pretty much every car just started abandoning their local area to start to flood and come to Cronulla, Maroubra, especially being from Maroubra. As soon as that I was just lights and sirens straight back here looking for justice from a personal perspective as well as a professional, because again, you've got a stake in this area, in this suburb. So, but it was a way different time. Hopefully it doesn't repeat.
So how it got sorted out in the end properly, this went on for a week easy, maybe a little bit longer, where they were still coming along and we're trying, and Bra was trying to scare them away, get out of here, and So what happened in the end? We got the head of the Bra boys, we got Sonny Aberden, got the head of the bikies. I can't remember what the gang that was. We got the head of the Lebanese, the commentary, the head of the Lebanese. And one of the local council guys or something. It was one of the, I think it was the head of the surf clubs. And they all come down to meet and shook hands and said, listen, we're a community here. We're all Australian, and we're all want to live here. We want to live in peace. We don't want to have any gang war. We don't want to have any stabbings. We don't want to have any bashings, killings. So they all got together, and I think it was the best thing ever happened. I come down the beach, they filmed it. It was on the news that night.
Were you down here on that day of the filming?
Yeah. I was down here to film, and they done it out in the front of the old surf shop, and they got together and shook hands. I walked along the beach and showed everyone, say, look, all the camera crews coming in, so they got across the news that this is going to stop from now on.
Yep.
No more of this. No more scaring the community on both of all communities. Didn't matter what they were. Everyone was involved, and
it's just interesting as well. Like the difference is that the truce was sort of brokered in this part of the neighbourhood, if you know what I mean. Whereas when you look at it in totality, it just comes into that sort of, you get the outsiders coming in and stirring up the shit, and then the truce is still brokered here. Whereas, obviously there's a bit of a, but again, we can say that the media sort of played their part responsibly, and the people here, cooler heads sort of prevailed. But you just wonder what it is like now when I see stuff on the media now where, I think everyone's just turning a blind eye to some of this stuff these protests that are going on in the city. It's totally foreign and unrelated to our culture in Australia. Yet we're going to be left having to deal with it and deal with the ramifications. You can see that it's brewing as we speak, and the media's just got their head buried down. The local sort of community leaders, for whatever that is worth, they have no one standing up and, standing up for our way of life and our values, and just getting everyone to just get back to work and business,
Look, the thing I like about what Australia is about as well, when it comes to, I do like anyone's allowed to have a peaceful protest. Yeah. The government allow it. They just don't want violence at protests and anything to do with any terrorism or anything like that related. Yeah. We won't cop it here, and that's just the way it is. But everyone's allowed to put protests, doesn't matter, and that's why our government is so good that we're allowed to go out, and the police presence, always police presence, to make sure there's no out thing. But I think that is, I think everyone's got a right to protest.
Well, I don't know if you've seen, there is a planned protest for October 7 coming up, and the government is saying, look, no permission to go out and protest. It's obviously not a day that should be celebrated because it was an atrocity and, basically a mass terrorism war crime incident.
Yeah.
But there are certain people and, fanning the flame, they want to go out and protest. The police have basically said they're going to put a stop to it. Let's see what do you think that will end up happening there? Let's see. But we'll see what sort of resolve. From what I'm hearing,
I think this is going to go on for a long time. In the Middle East, I think this is
well. This is only talking about here. What about on shore?
Well, it's going to happen here too. It's going to be, mate. It's mate. We've got that many people from Palestine here that live here as well. Yeah. Mate, we've got people from Israel. We've got plenty of Jews here as well, and they're all from there, and they're Australians like me and you.
Yeah.
And it's going to affect their families who live there as well. These countries, in Lebanon as well.
Yeah.
And it's going to be brought here as well because we live there. There's a lot here live. So,
well, I think it can be brought here and people can discuss it. Do we need sort of indoctrination? I've saw some protests recently and they're handing out pamphlets to young kids.
I don't like that. That's not on. That shouldn't be on.
The media's not reporting on any of that. And you actually sit there and wonder and just say, look, where's the resolve from these elected officials to say, look, we're not going to tolerate that. We don't need that in this country. We don't want to have that perpetuating. Yes, what you do and think behind closed doors, well, let's have your private discussions. Obviously, you've got family affected back home, but the Australian government is, so good to the people are so good here that we've even got aircraft at the moment now picking up citizens from overseas that should be here anyway. Who knows what the fuck they're doing overseas? Why are they even in these affected countries at the moment when it is a war zone? And I'd love to see how they're being funded, but we're actually sending military aircraft to go and pick them up, bring them back to Australia at our expense. It's, so...
when they had 3 months
to pay their own way and get home.
That's right. So... some people can't get away because they've got families, they can't leave and things like that. I can understand on some of them. There's always circumstances where people can't get out of there, but majority can.
Majority,
and that's what I'm saying. That's what we're saying. There's no reason. There's always going to be a handful of people that can't get out of there because they've got sick families or something. They've got things going on. That's different.
But
We're just saying the majority, but that's it.
But
That's
anyway,
what it is.
so that's an interesting sort of thing. But anyway, coming back from '05, and this sort of unrest this sort of bubbling, simmering unrest, from my perspective, has been going on since about the early to mid '90s. Where I went to was at the Bondi riots. Tempe Park was probably the first catalyst incident for all this unrest.
Yes.
And now this is still perpetuating and going on in 2024. This is, and from what I'm hearing, I was just about to say, what I'm hearing from contacts still within the police is that they've had they've got their own sort of a police association issues at the moment. They've had a mass exodus of local cops. So even their numbers are going to be down at the moment at a time when we critically need them. So let's hope that the government pulls their finger out and starts to support the few sort of brave cops that are left, and keep us all sort of on the right track when it comes to this. But anyway, moving on. So you were doing the surfing. You were grew up around here, and recently, what's another hobby I want to kick over, because I know you've got another sort of passion and a hobby. Started around that time when you were about 18, 17?
It would have started back in the footy days, back in primary school, when I went to Cushy South Public School. I used to love getting autographs. Now, we used to get autographs of football players, rugby league players, boxers. I got Jeff Fennick, all your rugby league famous people back then. I used to go to the games. Dad used to take me to the Rabbitoh games. So after the games, I used to bring my autograph book and get autographs and stuff. So I always had a passion of autographs. And then it ended up being photos was a big thing, like selfies and stuff with celebrities. But that's how it first started.
And this was before the digital mobile phone.
It was 15, 20 years before that. You know what I mean? Like, it was nothing. It wasn't even near being out when I first started. I started as even before a teenager, 10, 12-year-old. I was doing this, and then we started. Me and my friend Richard Simpkin, who lived in my area, we used to skateboard together. Yeah. He had an interest in getting football autographs as well. And all of a sudden we went from there, and then we started to do music. And then one of my first ever music celebrities I got was Michael Hutchins from In Excess. That was at the Siebel Townhouse at the King's Cross.
Oh, yeah. What year?
You know what? I don't even know the year would have been, but
roughly.
Roughly
90 or
no, it would have been. I'm saying late 80s.
Yeah,
maybe 88, 89.
Yeah. What was he like to meet?
No, he was pretty cool because we were only kids. So I always find out that celebrities always got time for kids. Most of them do. Yeah. I got a story I'll come up with later about kids and Guns N' Roses.
So you met Michael. He was probably the first. I was actually having a discussion about him this morning, just explaining to someone from overseas that he's probably our biggest rock star as an individual. I'm not saying he was, obviously AC/DC is our biggest rock band, but as far as being like a superstar, I reckon Michael Hutchins was probably, he was in with all of the elites back at the time.
He was one of the biggest. He was one of the biggest rock stars, and women just used to. They used to just follow him wherever he wanted, because there was no social media back then. Yeah. So they used to hang at the hotels. They used to go to every concert where he was, hang out where he lived. Yeah. The women, he was just like a god.
Hoping for a sperm donation.
Yeah, exactly. And he went through, and he was, he had so many women. He was just a bachelor,
Yeah, but most of his life.
But he was my first big one at the time. And then after that, it just rolled on.
Give me some more from that time you remember.
Well, some of the other ones I met at, especially Siebel Townhouse was the main where most of the rock stars and Hollywood stars. So more rock bands I met was Metallica. They stayed there, met them many times. Motley Crue was big back then as well. Bon Jovi, Aerosmith.
Yeah. Now
these bands. Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, but from this sort of hobby, let's say, or little sort of, some kids collect stamps, you collect autographs, but at some point you and your mate Michael realised you could probably make some money out of this.
Oh, there's another thing coming. So
yeah,
just before I left school in '92, end of '92, we seen a lot of paparazzi around, and we thought, why are we always there before the paparazzi, or know where the hotels like, or where the celebrities are coming in? We always used to know that. So this turned out to be part of the paparazzi crew, and all what we did is, me and my mate Richard ended up buying cameras.
So I said Mike Richard.
It's all right. His name's Richard Simpkin.
Yeah.
We bought cameras and we went down there and started taking photos ourselves. And it was a good business. Well, like, I ended up buying my first car.
What camera did you buy? Do you remember the setup?
My first camera was a Nikon. I used to always use Nikon.
Yeah.
I had a few Nikons, and that was film camera. It was film. It wasn't digital then, too. So you didn't know what you were shooting, because what about if it didn't work out? You had to get it print. You had to go race down and then pay to get it printed, to get it rolled, and then check the prints, and if they were right, then I go off to the magazines and ring them up and say, look, I got pictures of like Michael Hutchins, like all these other bands and stuff.
Yeah. So what did you start with, the music first?
Music was first, and then it was more into the Hollywood, because Hollywood was big.
Yeah.
So like chasing Madonna, I did Madonna, and I followed her from the hotel at Ritz-Carlton at Double Bay.
So how long would it take maybe to get a good shot of Madonna, let's say, for instance?
Well, first of all, you have to wait to see them at wherever they are, the hotel. And you got to wait till they come out, and you got to see what entrance they come out of.
Yeah.
So it's like it's guessing, but it's a lot of planned work to work out where the cars are.
So using a surveillance term, so where did you stack your car? Where did you stack up to get some observations on? Where would you park? In visual
Say the Ritz-Carlton, I always have my car parked either the front of the hotel or the back of the hotel, where I think they were going to go.
Yeah.
And if I did miss them, I had to run back to the car and then try to chase them and catch up to them and follow them. And they might go out for lunch, or they might go to the beach, and I get down there and start photo and do paparazzi and then get my shots.
So tell us about Madonna. What was the date?
Yeah, Madonna, that was she come out for a concert in 92, 93. I think it was 93. And she stayed in the Ritz-Carlton, and then she come out the back, and all the media was at the front. So... And then she was a big runner. She still does it today. So she's a big fitness freak. So she had two big bodyguards plus a third guy as well, who was a reminder. And she went out jogging. And she had black on, and she had sunglasses, and she had a hoodie on. So try to be discreet, not to the chapster, because he always knows what they're wearing and what they're going to do. So I've jumped in the car, and I've gone right up the road, and they've gone past them. And she's headed towards Bondi Beach. We've got a few shots across the road from there. And then when she's coming back, we set up. We set up across the road, not far from the Ritz-Carlton.
How did you and Richard keep in contact with each other? Did you have walkie-talkies or anything? Or did you
we had, if I think Richard got the first mobile phone. I didn't have one.
Yeah.
That then
just keep in line of sight.
We only had the one car together.
Oh, okay,
so I don't think he had the most. So we had to go the car together. So what we did, One would have the camera, and one would go up close and try to talk to the celebrity and try to get them set up for some photos.
So when you went and spoke to them, was it to distract them, or would you ask them and say, look, can we get a photo?
Oh, look, that's only for, that's not to make money. So when I was getting pictures with like selfies and that's only just for myself, because I like getting pictures with celebrities as well. But when we're doing the paparazzi, it was always from a distance. Yeah. But this occasion was different, because the film crew, Channel 7 film crew, come up to Madonna as she's running, and I was with the camera across the road. So Richard said, look, I'll take over the camera and you run across, because he knew I was a surfy and I had I was very fit. So I went straight up to Madonna and I said, oh, Madonna, don't worry, I'll stop the thing. So I got in the way, and it made a bit of a story, because the Channel 7 was tangled in between the bodyguards and that.
And yourself.
And it's and myself, and it made a story out of it. So
And Richard got the shots.
he got the shot. So we did sequences of the shot, and we sold it.
And what sort of money did you get for that? Just off there.
That shot, shots there, that was about $5,000 at the time.
Yeah,
we got
which is I'm telling you, that's a big sort of
back then
chunk of change.
Mate,
by
1993.
Yeah.
1993. Mate, it's a good whack. So that was one of the stories that I did back in the day. Another quick one was Fergie, which is one of the Royals, Fergie the Royal.
Oh yeah, Sarah Ferguson.
Sarah Ferguson.
Yep.
She, we followed her to a house over at Palm Beach, and she was over there, and we seen her go into the house, and there must have been a side lane where I can look through the gate.
Yep.
And I had the camera and sort of some trees, and I was shooting her inside there, and we sold these photos. But it was only she was only talking with a few people, but because it was Fergie, it sold. And I think we end up getting $4,000 or something like that for them shots. Yeah. So that was just one around the time as well.
Yeah. Now you did have one sort of well-known incident with an Australian actor. Actually made the local paper.
From Neighbours, the TV series Neighbours.
Yeah, is that still going? Or is it...
Jason Donovan.
Yeah, tell me.
So the Jason Donovan was a funny one. So me and Richard said, Jason Donovan, we knew he was down at Bondi. We had his address, which was only just off the main part of Bondi Beach, just one street away. So we went down there. One time he didn't come out of his place.
Yeah.
Then on the news the next day, he's had an attack at one of the famous cafes at Bondi. He had a collapse. It was a drug overdose.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
So straight away, we were there. As soon as we heard on the news it happened, we were at the house. So waiting. Okay. So we knew the first shots were going to sell and they're going to be big.
Yeah.
So we were down there for the first day, and one of the channels was down there as well. But he didn't come out for 2 days. Okay. So they gave up on it. But me and Richard, because we were paparazzi, we weren't getting paid for being there. We knew that the shot we were going to get it. So all of a sudden, the day he came out one morning, he's come out, and he come out with one of his mates who looked like a bodybuilder. They come out with surfboards under their arms, right? And so I went in short with a short lens, close, and Richard was with the backs because he knew there was going to be some drama when it was going to come. So I've gone up close and said, Donovan, give us some pictures, would you?
Yeah.
And Jason.
Did he respond at all?
Oh, he was angry.
What did he say?
He angry. He pretty much says, F off, get out of here. He put his surfboard down, and there were some milk crates.
Yeah.
And he threw the milk crates and actually got me in the leg because I wasn't far from him because I was shooting and I couldn't see him pick the milk crates up.
Yeah.
But we got it from a distance.
Yeah. And
man, it was a story. And we got similar money from before from the Fergie one. We sold that there.
Yeah.
But he went down to after that, he went down to the beach for surfing. Yeah. And all of a sudden we got him because he couldn't surf. He was a kook. So a kook means someone that doesn't know how to surf. So I called him a kook. He didn't like it. So he's out there surfing.
Did you say that to him?
Oh, I told him it's a kook, yeah. Anyway, so he went out there surfing, and we were on the shore, and we got shots of him. We sold it to another magazine, got a few more grand off that. So it ended up being for a few days. It was really worth it.
Yeah.
But but I remember the milk crates. It actually bruised my leg. But anyway, I got over it. It was only a couple of days later.
He stirred you up, eh?
Yeah.
You stirred him up.
I stirred him up, and then he had a bit of a go. But so there's a couple of good stories on the.
Yeah, what other celebs? Give me another one. Especially the paparazzi, I guess, because I suppose you're interacting with them, and you're trying to, in some ways, you're trying to sort of get more than just a photograph out of them. You're trying to get a bit of a response, and if you can.
Yeah, that's right. Some of the, I tell you, was another good one. This is my biggest pay one. Was Elle McPherson at the time, which she was the biggest supermodel. And she just...
Who's Elle McPherson for those that don't know?
She's Australia. She was Australia's top model at the time.
She was a supermodel,
yes, at the time. So
Unlike,
It was done
unlike today's OnlyFan models.
Yeah.
But
So
5'2" and 5 foot wide. Yep.
So it was middle of summer. It would have been January after Christmas, boiling hot day. We knew she was in town. She was staying at the Park Hyatt.
Yeah.
So we go to the Park Hyatt, wait for her to come out one morning. She come out with a beautiful Jaguar, blue. Just this stunning Jaguar. So we knew we couldn't miss the car if we lost it, where we lost it. So we followed it. She went to Catalina's for lunch. Which that's at Rose Bay. Rose Bay for lunch. An hour later, she come back out and she's on the run. We didn't know where she was going to go, but I thought, geez, it's a hot day, Rich. Don't you reckon she's going to go to the beach? Hello. Straight away, she goes straight to Bondi. We go up Bondi. She goes past Bondi. I thought, fuck, she might be going to one of the other beaches. So the traffic was so heavy that once I got around, we lost her. Cars got in the way. But she could only be Tamarama or Bronte. So once we sort of got around and look, we done lunch, look, couldn't see her. I spotted a car at Tamarama. Her car was parked, so she was down the beach. Yeah. So I said, Richard, this is what we're doing. I'm going to grab my towel. I'm going to get my bag. I'm going to have my camera in the bag. I'm going to put board shorts on like it's going on the beach. Yeah. My mate Richard wasn't a beach person. He had the big lens on the top. So we had different angles. Yeah. So I've gone straight down on the sand. I was 50 metres from her, straight on the sand. Yeah. Set my camera up under the bag, and I was just waiting for her to get up. So from the thing, so I was shooting while she had bikini on, and she was with a future husband, this French guy. Yeah. And then she went down swimming on the beach, and we got all shots, and my mate got shots at the top. And I never got spotted. I couldn't believe I didn't get spotted on the beach. But
got all these amazing
shots. Mate, we had to split it because I had to pay the agency. Richard and me, it was 3 ways. It sold for about 24,000.
Wow.
We got about 8,000 each.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So,
how do you think the market is now for that? Because we're in the digital age and everyone's got a phone, everyone's got a camera. Would there be any value nowadays, or do you think it's all gone?
The value has come down when it comes to paparazzi. They don't pay as much. It has to be an amazing story. But the value went down. Once Diana died in France, the paparazzi were hated. And I was a paparazzi then, up until then, 1997. I did it 5 years out of school. I made some good money. It was a good living out of it. But once that happened, I only got a few paparazzis off that sold, and then they didn't want to touch any photo stuff. And then it sort of died after there for years. Yeah. And then I didn't do paparazzi, but I still wanted to meet celebrities and do autographs, so I still did that. And I ended up doing wedding photography, and I made a bit of money on wedding photography.
And how many celebrities now? Because I know you've got folders literally of...
it'll be thousands. And I've all printed them out in my album, plus I've got them on storage.
How about I just name some celebrities? You tell me if you've met them or not. You got a photograph. Elton John.
Elton John, yes, Melbourne Airport, winter, freezing cold. Got him as he come off the airplane. He had sunnies on. And he was okay. But today, he does not do photographs unless you know him in effect. So he's almost impossible to get an photograph with him. So there's a big one.
All right, Sean Connery, someone who's long gone.
Oh, Shawnee, the old Bond man. Yeah, he's one of my favourites, Sean Connery. What an amazing actor in person. Yeah. I got him at a hotel down at Circular Quay. He was out here for some movie he did, and we waited in the lobby, and I just approached him with my mate Richard, and he obliged.
What was he doing at the time?
I think he was out here. I can't remember what movie. He was out here for a movie. It was a premiere. Because most of the actors usually when they come in, they either come on holidays or premieres.
Or to promote something.
It was to promote a movie. It could have been the movie The Rock. Yeah. It could have been the movie at the time. It sounds familiar. And, mate, he was very nice. He posted the photo. I got a couple of autographs signed. I've actually got framed. I've still got them at home. And he's my number one Bond, along with Roger Moore, number 2.
What about going back to music? What about Bono out of U2?
Or Bono. Oh,
Bono.
yeah.
Bono.
Oh,
Bono.
Bono on the Edge. I've met both of them. Bono I've met a few times over the years because he loves Sydney, and he always comes to Sydney. And only recently, only like 4 years ago, I went to the hotel, which is the Park Hyatt, and got a waiter for him pretty much all day. His last day, we knew he usually always does the pictures or order us on the last day. So if you know when you're leaving, so Bono is a really he's one of the greats.
What's he like as a person?
Oh, I think he's amazing, mate.
Yeah.
He's when it comes to peace around the world, he's always putting his hand up. His charities, I just think he's got a heart of gold.
Well, I'm going to think of someone who's probably more obscure. I don't think they've been. I can't even remember if they've been out to Australia recently or Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. I haven't got Johnny Depp.
Oh, there
Now,
I found one. I picked one.
Yeah, so Johnny Depp, when he came to Queensland, didn't come to Sydney, otherwise I would have got him.
Yeah.
And I was going to fly up to me. I didn't. I should have went up. Anyway, he was with Amber Heard at the time, and he had this little dog that got caught in the news.
Known as Amber
Amber.
Turd.
Yeah, so, I think Amber Heard, don't matter what she is, but she's a beautiful looking woman. I'll give her that. She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But Johnny Depp is a great person, and he's loved around the world. And a lot of people don't like Amber Heard because of what happened.
What about
what else?
I don't know. We can stay in the Marvel universe, I guess. What about Robert Downey Jr.?
I met Robert Downey Jr. And I met him at a premiere it would have been 10 years ago now. Something close to 10 years ago now, maybe 8 to 10. LA, down at Santa Monica at one of the theatres down there. I knew he was doing a movie premiere. And we waited the side lane. He did order us. He didn't want to pose for a photo. So I had someone that had the camera, and I just sat there and took the photos next to me and he didn't want
video still or something, was it?
Yeah. And I got the picture like that because I was right next to him, but he signed something he ordered off. But yeah, he's a bit of a prick.
Was he? Yeah.
Yeah, they're not the nicest.
Copy. Who else? Obviously. Just trying to think. What about what's the guy's name who played Chris Evans? The guy who played Captain America.
Yeah, no, I never met him. I tell you, one of the toughest guys to get. He doesn't do many photos. Denzel Washington. There's one. There's one of the greatest actors of our time.
Yep. Where did you meet him at?
It was a long, long time ago as well. It would have been the early 90s. Come out for a movie as well. Premiere. It would have been at. The Intercontinental, I think it was there. We come down there. We got in the press con because we had photo passes. That's the only reason. We're part of the press.
Yep.
And I got in there and asked him a picture. He sort of laughed, but he knew he had to do it. He knew he wasn't going to say no because all the press is around. So because no one used to get pictures. So me and Richie got one together with him. He only done one.
Yeah.
Still got it today.
How was he? He seems like he's pretty.
Look, he was all right, you know what I mean? But like he was, sort of a bit laughing, but
Didn't really.
He didn't really want to do it.
Yeah, copy.
So that's one of the big ones.
Yep. I know you like ones that I know you've done recently. Let's say in the last few years, like Margot Robbie.
Yeah, Margot Robbie, Fox Studios, Sydney, lovely person, gorgeous in real life, exactly what she's like on TV and the movies. She's stunning in real life and a great person too.
Yep. Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe is how I get on the right time with Russell Crowe. He's the owner of the South Sydney Rabbitohs football side. I follow.
That means he's an instant friend.
So straight away, when I love him because of that, but I think he's a great actor as well. Gladiator, you cannot meet him in Gladiator. He was amazing.
Even I've met Russell and got a photo with him somewhere. But
so there you go. Even Matty's got one. Yeah. So, but yeah, he's pretty good with the fans. He does pictures and that.
He's just a lad, just a good Aussie bloke. Yeah.
He's one.
Mel Gibson. Oh. You met him?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. There's something's going on here. Tell me.
Mel Gibson. Well, Mel Gibson probably met him 5, 6 times, and every single time he's been an arsehole. will not stop. He always makes excuses. Oh, leave me alone, get away from me. He's he's just not a nice person. But I've heard he's been doing it a little bit in America, but in Australia he will not do it in Australia. Can't work it out. But
I wonder if it's because he sort of, he sort of cut his teeth here
he's a bit crazy
in the film industry, and then sort of left. And
yes,
I think it's more the media, the Australian media, sort of disowned him. He said, "Oh, well, he's telling everyone he's an American, so now he's an American," and he's just sort of taken that on and thinks, "Oh, well, to hell with Australia and Australians." But hopefully not, because I think he's one of the most awesome actors, definitely.
Oh, great, and director too.
Yeah. He's got his heart's in the right place. He's just,
Mate,
he's definitely an Aussie, mate. He was down at Coogee, he went down to Night. He's a local.
He is a great director.
If he ever sees this, man, come back and hang out sometime. Maroubra or Coogee.
Yeah, give me a picture.
He won't give you one now after what you said.
Oh, well.
But you've already got him a few times.
So, yeah.
You forced yourself onto him.
Many ones. And some of the big ones that have died that I've got, here's some big ones. I've got Gregory Peck.
Oh, yeah, wow.
To Kill a Mockingbird. Everyone knows that famous movie. He won the Academy Award for that. At the time I got Elton John, he was out here for Moby Dick movie in down in the ports down at Melbourne, and we found out that where he was, and pulled him up next to his car, and he got out. And he was really nice. Got a picture with him. Got some autographs I've still kept.
All right, and now give me one more. I just want to see if this is, because it's becoming a bit topical. So there's a band that's just announced, two brothers that are just about to reform.
Oh, the Oasis boys.
Tell me them. Tell me you've met them, surely. House of Pie's got a signed autograph from him that's been up there for the last 20 years.
I've met both of them individually when they broke up the band.
Yeah.
And they were all right. They were pretty cool.
How was Liam?
Yeah, he was all right. We had to beg him at the hotel, and he was with two women. He had two arms only around his arm, and he said, and I said, please, Liam, I'm a massive fan, please. And he said, okay, let's do it quickly. So he pulled up, had to get off the girls and get the picture. He went straight back on his girls. So
yeah. What about Noel?
And Noel was a little bit better, I think, at the time. But I think they had their days, like most of them. Yep. You know what I mean? So yeah, to meet both of the band members, it's pretty huge.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's probably a fair few we could probably. Because you got folders, and what we might do sometime anyway, if we do another one, which I think we will. We might get those folders. That'll jog our memory, and you can just flip them.
Stories. I could go for a story after story where it happened. Where it's mostly in Sydney, where I've got these people, and I have been to LA many times, so I have met a few in LA as well. A few celebrities which don't come to Australia. So I've happened to meet these guys.
We were in LA both together recently. Got a photo together.
And that's when I met. I got a picture with David Spade.
Oh, that's right. So this is an indication of you've still got the radar on for these paparazzis, because Miles was in LA about 2 weeks ago, and he was there for a day and a half. Now I want you to rattle off, in that day and a half, tell me the celebrities you actually met and got a photo with.
So the first day and a half, and with my miss, I didn't really go down to over in America for celebrities, because she said we're not going there. We're here for a vacation, which we were.
Yeah.
But I did go to places where I'm going to run into celebrities. Beverly Hills was one of my main places I went, and a couple of restaurants. So we were, and one of the shopping malls, which is near Beverly Hills. So I've gone down to Beverly Hills, and we went to the shopping mall, Century City, massive shopping mall. It's a Westfield. It's actually an Australian company. And we've gone to Macy's, me and my missus, and I've seen David Spade with his missus and baby. And my radar went straight up, and I said to my missus, look, I'm going to...
How obvious is it that it's David Spade? Because
I know. I can spot
I know
people. What do you mean?
So just tell it for the layperson, because if it was me walking past, I
you
wouldn't
notice him.
You wouldn't notice him. Why?
Look,
Because they're always...
Look, the only reason I sort of noticed as well, because he had his baseball cap on, right? And like I say, who's not... A lot of people are discreet when they're in Macy's or these shopping malls and they've got baseball caps on, right?
He's got sunnies on and baseball cap
Well,
on.
when he was outside, he had sunnies. When he went in the mall, he got...
He didn't, yeah.
He didn't. But they're right. Sunnies and baseball caps. I know we all wear them too, but that's... A lot of them will wear these hats and stuff.
Yeah. So you keep going?
Yeah, so... I've waited for the right opportunity to go and ask him because he was with his kid and his missus, and I had to sort of just hang around and in the background and wait till something happened. And his missus got on the phone, and he had his kid himself. So I went, and that's where I pounced.
Yeah.
I went in and asked him. I said, hello, Mr. Spain. I said, my name's Miles. I put my hand out, shook his hand, and he could obviously understand that I wasn't American, that I was from overseas in Australia or England, whatever. And he said, and we started to just have little chit-chats. I said, you toured a year ago? He said, yes. And then I just said, I'm a massive fan. Is there a chance I can get a picture with you? And he said, sure, let's do it. And there was a gentleman that was walking past, and he took my picture with David Spade.
Okay, so that...
And his missus didn't even know what's going on. She was in the background, so it was gone.
And still within that same sort of...
Yeah, within a couple of days.
36-hour period.
I had dinner in Beverly Hills in one of the streets there.
Yeah.
And once we finished dinner, I said to Mrs., let's go for a walk around the streets.
Yeah.
Me thinking that I might run into a celebrity on the street. That's my mindset. And... so and behold, I run into Ron Perlman, which he's one of the main actors in Sons of Anarchy.
That's right. He's the stepfather.
Yes, and he's in Hellboy. He's the main guy in Hellboy.
Yeah.
And he's been in many, many movies and TV series. So if you don't know his name, look his name up, because you guarantee you know who he is. But I spotted him straight away, and when I did, me and Mrs. walked past him. She didn't notice him, and I said, Maria, that's the guy from Sons of Anarchy. I know him for sure. And I just went, and he went down the driveway. I followed him down there. Didn't know his name. I couldn't pull the name out in the top of my head at the time.
Yeah.
So the way I did it is I said, excuse me, sir. Or I said, just excuse me. And he turned around, and I went up to him. I said, my name's Miles. Lovely to meet you. I said, look, I've seen you in many movies. I've seen you in TV series. I'm a big fan.
Got no idea what your name is.
I didn't know his name at the time, but that's how you got. Sometimes you got to approach him. Otherwise, you're going to miss out. And he chatted. He shook my missus' hands as well, Maria. And then I did ask him, can I please go? He said, yeah, sure. Another guy was a gentleman. Gave me the picture, big smile, and then he headed off to his car, and then we walked off, and there was another one that I got within just by the street by looking, just keeping my eyes peeled if I run into someone.
Yeah, and the next one.
The next one that I did meet
was this a singer dude? Who's the guy, the creeping Jesus looking guy? What's his name?
No, that was in Sydney. That's when I got back.
Oh, was that when you got back?
That was when I got back.
What was his name?
Jared Leto.
Oh,
so as soon as I got off the plane on the Sunday morning, I went out of sleep, and Jared Leto was in town for his band. He was here out here for. And one of my mates, who's a paparazzi, said, Miles, I'm down the hotel. I'm going to follow him. If he goes somewhere, I'll let you know. An hour later, he tells me that Jared, I've just followed him to Marrickville, and he's gone to rock climbing. Him and his missus do rock climbing. Yep. And I got there, and he was up there. He was rock climbing on the thing, doing the thing. Yeah. And I waited for him to come down, and I didn't have my camera. All I had is my phone, and I approached him, and said I did rock climbing, which I do on the side here and there. And he said, it's great. And we started having a little chit chat, a little bit standoffish, but he was still all right for how big he is. Yeah. And then I said, can I get a picture? And his wife was right there, his girl. And I tried to hand the phone to him. And he said, no, let's do a selfie only. I try to avoid selfies because you're only getting the face and the thing. I like getting the body and full thing. And he said, let's do it. So I did it, and he done the things. But look, at least I got it. He always wears a hat. He always wears sunnies, or he wears masks. I didn't. Man, you're never going to see that. It's 3 or 4 of them out there.
Whereabouts? I
Just
do
right
just
there.
see a bloke.
You
Oh,
can
yeah,
see.
shit.
Look
they're
how close
close.
that
Holy
is.
shit, they are close.
It's close. You have to get that film. You have to film it, I think.
Maybe this thing will pick her up.
Yeah, you give it a run.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we've probably got enough for our first little chit chat. I reckon we can do a couple more, mate. There's a fair few stories to go through. Keep it a bit entertaining. We touched on a fair few topical subjects, and we'll pick it up on the next one. What do you reckon?
Yes, let's do that.
Anything you want to say before we rock and roll?
Oh, it's always great to catch up with Maddie. Sunny, it's blue sky. It's a little bit of wind and cool because we're actually just going into summer now, but to live in such a great country. Thanks for having a chat with everyone, and I hope you enjoyed all my input from about the beaches and my childhood and all my celebrity stuff. And there's a lot more than I could come up with if when it comes up to it.
Sounds good, mate. We'll talk to you soon. For you back home, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. What else do they got to do? I don't know. What else they say on those? We're in our
hit the like button. Yeah, the like button, subscribe, and leave a filthy comment. Yeah, leave. Yeah. So.